Welcome my dear students on your favorite learning platform Learn Forward. And we are doing science with our science book Link with Science by Feathercap, and this is chapter number 5. And what is the title says? It is birds. Okay, interesting. Why? Because we generally see lot of and a variety of birds out there in the sky and sitting on the trees and sitting on the land. Okay, so here we are going to study about different kinds of birds. So this first picture activity, this you have to do on your own. I know that you all love to draw on the numbers given over here. Okay, so this is a homework for you all. Fine. So be patient because there is lot of things coming in this chapter. There are variety of things that you'll get to know about different types of birds over here. So sit patiently and try to understand each one of it. Okay, so this is your homework. You have to draw similar bird over here. Okay, so now next, start it. Birds are flying animals. We all know this, that birds generally are flying animals. Apart from, like, if you talk about living beings, only birds have this capacity to fly. Okay, okay. And if I ask you that name any one man-made thing that can fly, is the aeroplane. Okay. Now we see birds everywhere. Everywhere there are more than 8,000 kinds of birds. 8,000 kinds of birds are there. Okay. Now birds have hollow bones. Now what is the word? This hollow means empty from inside. So their bones are hollow. Means if this is the bone, so from inside it is empty. The inner space. Okay, let me draw it another one. This is a bone. So this is the bone wall, and from inside these bones are empty. So this is called as hollow bone. Okay, filled with air. So because this is empty space, so it is filled with air. This makes their body very light to stay up in the air. So this makes, because bones are quite heavy. In human beings also, we also have heavy bones. So here this air filled hollow bones make these animals, make these birds very light to fly in the sky. The light body, the strong muscles, the wings, tail and boat-like shape all help the bird to fly. They have a boat-like shape so that they can move easily in the air. Okay. Next, they have strong breast muscles, strong wings, so that they can fly regularly. They can just fly their wings or waddle their wings so that they can move up in the air. Now let's start with the feathers of the bird. So there are different feathers. Birds have light fluffy feathers, and these are of beautiful colors as well. So these are of three kinds. Number one is down feathers. And what are these? These are small, soft and fluffy feathers. They cover the body to keep it warm. So down feathers are the feathers that keep the body of the birds warm. Now next one is, number two is flight feathers. So as the name suggests, that flight feathers are the feathers that help them to fly. So our long and flat feathers on the wings, they help the bird to fly. Fine. So this is a wing, this is a down feather, this is a flight feather, and the third one is the tail feather. These are the feathers attached to the tail also. There are some feathers that are attached to the tail of the bird, and this says as these are called as tail feathers. Open out like a fan to slow down. So whenever this bird want to slow down in the air, it just open the tail feather. Okay, just like a fan to slow down a landing bird. So whenever this bird want to land, it just open the tail feather like a fan so that it can slow down and slowly can land to the earth surface. Okay, or to the land. To change the direction, birds turn their tails feather left or right. So this is the tail feather. So whenever this bird is flying up in the sky, it just turn its tail feathers left and right so that it can change the direction. Okay. Now how do these birds fly? So with the help of two types of strokes. Number one is upstroke and downstroke. So with the help of these two types of stroke, these birds can fly. So what are these upstroke and downstroke? The upward and backward movement of the wings is called as upstroke. Means whenever the bird fly, now see me, they just do like this, like they keep their wings open, then close, open and close, open and close, means up and down. So whenever they are making their wings like this, upward and backward, so that is called as upstroke. Next, they just flap their wings downwards, so that is called as downstroke. Okay, so here the bird is, this picture shows upstroke of the bird, and this picture shows downstroke of the bird wings. Okay, now next, when the bird has to land, it spread its wings and glide down. It do not flap its wing, it just glide down by just opening the wings. Okay, next, different kinds of beaks of the birds. So first tell me that all feathers are clear. One is down feather to keep the bird warm. Next is flight feather that help the bird to fly. Next is tail feather, it help the bird to slow down while it is landing. Okay, next, these wings, they perform two types of movement. One is upstroke, flapping of the wings, and the downstroke. Okay, next is beak of the bird. So there are different types of birds and different types of beaks with the birds. Okay, so all birds have beak, and what is this beak? What is the main function? To find out food and eat it. Okay, so birds use their beak to pick up, cut, open, tear, crush, and chisel the food. So this is the function. Majorly they use to cut, to just crack or cut open the food that they basically feed upon. Okay, now different kinds of bird have beaks of different shapes. Their beaks tells us all about their food and how they get it. So first thing, beaks of grain eating birds. So what is the structure of the beak of the birds basically that have grain as their food? Okay, so small birds generally eat grains, seeds and nuts only. So they crack them with the help of their short, hard and pointed. It is very short, it is hard and very pointed and horny beak. Means horny beak means again it is of a shape of the horn. They remove the husk and swallow the seed. So horny beak means in the shape of the horn. Fine. Now beaks of fruit eating birds. Now what is the what is the shape of the beaks of the bird that eat fruit? So here it is a hornbill. Parrots, hornbills and cuckoo actually have curved beaks to crack nuts and bite at hard fruits. So hard fruits, nuts, hard nuts, they help, their beak help them to cut or feed upon these hard structures. Hooked beak also help a parrot to climb up high branches. Now this is very interesting that parrot use its hooked beak to climb up the branches. Now beaks of carnivorous birds. Now there are some birds that are carnivorous, means that feed upon some flesh of other animals. Okay, so here hawks, owls, eagles and vultures eat other animals like small birds, frogs, snakes and mice. They tear these animals with the help of strong hooked and pointed beaks. So can you see here this beak of a vulture? So it is slightly hooked, very pointed and hard, strong, very strong. So what happens? They just tear the animals with these strong hooked and pointed beak. Okay, now next is beak of insectivorous birds. So now there are some birds, or basically I can say that majorly the birds fall in this category because most of the birds, they eat insect. Okay, so there are many types of birds that have insectivorous, or they feed upon insects. So first is strong and chisel shaped beak. So this is the first. Chiseling woodpecker. What is it is doing? It is striking the wood, means the trunk of the tree, and making holes so that it can find some food for it. So first is strong and chisel shaped beak. It helps the woodpecker bird to peck and make hole in the tree trunks and catch insect to eat. Okay, there might be some insect present in the trunk of the tree, so it just peck it, make a hole and take all the insects that are present there. Okay, now next is probing hoopoe. Now this has long and slender beak. It has long and slender beak. It helps the hoopoe and cattle ergot to pull out the insects from the flowers and crevices in the ground and trees. Now crevices in the ground means the small gaps that might be present in the soil. slightly small gaps. So these are called as crevices of the soil or in the ground. And it also helps its long beak to take out the insect from the flowers. You know that insect, they sit in the flowers, on the flowers to have their nectar. Fine. So some insects are present in the flowers. So this ergot and hoopoe, they have what they have? They have long beak and they just insert it inside the flower and they take out the insects. Okay. Now long and pointed beak. Next is of this kingfisher. They have long and pointed beak. They just dip their beak inside the water to have all the fishes and insects from the rivers and ponds, means water. Next is broad short beak. Broad and short beak. So this is a very short beak and broad one. And the example is flycatcher. It is sticky inside. The beak is sticky inside, from inside. Okay. And swallows and flycatchers, they go around through the air. Means when they are flying, they just open their beak and all the insects and everything that is present, flies and everything that is present in the air, they just go inside the mouth because their mouth is open and it gets stick to the beak there. Okay. So they go around the air with their beaks open. Tiny insects get stuck into their mouth. So this is how they eat. Next is broad and flat beak. So example is duck. So it helps duck to dig in the soft mud near ponds. So near ponds there is soft soil that is called as mud because it has water content, more water content in it. So it helps, means this broad and flat beak help the ducks to dig in the soft mud near ponds. This beak has fine holes in the side. So what happens whenever this duck feeds on such mud, it is just digging the mud. What happens whenever it finds any insect or any food item there, it remains in the mouth and the mud comes out from the holes from the side. So this beak has fine holes along the edges. Water and mud goes out through the holes. Plant and worms are left in the duck's mouth to swallow. Same. Okay. Next is beaks of honeysucker birds. Means there are many birds that suck honey from the flowers. So what type of beak they have? Sunbird is the example. Has a long, thin and pointed beak. You can see over here, long, thin and pointed so that it can easily pierce into the flowers part. It helps the bird to suck nectar, honey from the flowers. Fine. Next is claws of birds. So till now we know about different types of beaks with different birds. Okay. So here they have claws of birds. So here claws are the hard nail-like part. What are claws? This is claw. This is claw. Okay. So these are hard nail-like parts at the end of each toe. These are claws. Fine. Birds use their claws to catch and eat food to protect themselves from their enemies and to move about. So what is the purpose? These claws are used by the birds to catch food to protect themselves. Means whenever some of the birds that use their claws to catch food, they just grip the food and they just run away or they just fly away. And second thing, they protect themselves by attacking on some other animal and they move about. They also walk or go from one place to another place. Number one is flesh eating or preying birds. So this is first one. So flesh eating birds like vulture, hawk and kite have strong and sharp claws called talons. Okay. So these are called as talons. So they have strong and sharp claws called talons. Now the prey cannot escape their catch. So whenever, because they are flying in the sky and whenever they see any of their prey, they just fly down and catch the prey and go away. Okay. So this is how it happens. They never miss their catch. Now they catch and carry away their live prey like toads, means frogs, a type of frog, rats, small birds with these claws. Okay. Now next is scratching birds. Now scratching birds means scratching. So the hens scratch the earth to bring out buried seeds and insects. So because earth has certain insects and flies and worms and variety of different very tiny small animals along with some grains. Okay, so these birds, they scratch the ground to find such parts. Their toes have sharp and hard claws to dig. So their toes, these are the toes, and they have sharp claws to dig the ground. Now next is perching birds. Perching means sitting on the branch of a tree. So toes help crows, sparrows, etc. to hold on to the branches firmly, called perching. So whenever they use these claws to hold the branch so that they can very comfortably sit on the branches. So here these animals, means these birds, crows and sparrows, they hold on to the branches firmly, called perching. So whenever they are sitting on the branch, it is called as perching. Now perching help the birds to rest and sleep without falling. So they can just rest there, they can sit there, and even they can sleep without falling because they have such tight grip. It protects them from ground animals also, because whenever they want to rest, they just go to higher branches of the trees and they perch and sleep there and rest there. Okay. Now climbing birds. So remember in the first or second or third slide, I've told you that beak of the parrot, because it is curved beak, help the parrot to climb the branches. So climbing birds, the parrot and the woodpecker have two toes pointing forward and two in the backward. Means these two are forward pointing and these two are backward pointing. So this is climbing birds. They can climb the trees. This helps them to clinch to the bark of the trees and climb up. Means they can just, if this is the tree, they can start clinging to this part and then they can climb to the upper branches of the trees as well. Okay, wonderful. Very interesting. Now next is swimming birds. So swimming birds like swans and ducks have webbed feet. Front toes are jointed together. You can say that 1, 2, 3, they are joined by a web-like structure. Okay, they are joined together with skin webs. These are the skin extensions, these yellow part that you are seeing. Okay. Now, front toes are jointed with skin webs. Such feet paddle the water back to swim forward. Okay, because water just can be paddled through these webbed feet. Because if they do not have this webbed skin, the water would not move backward because it will all pass in between the toes. So it has webbed feet so that it can paddle the water back. They have oil gland in their skin to keep the feathers waterproof. So they have oil gland also. Oil, you know, oil can give a layer to something to protect it from the water. Okay, oil, because if anything has oil, it won't allow water to pass through it. So here they have oil gland in their skin to keep the their feathers waterproof. Okay. Now wading birds. So what are wading birds? Cranes and other paddy birds have thin long legs and wide spreading toes. Thin long legs and wide spreading toes, widely spreaded toes. These help them to walk through muddy water without sinking or getting wet. So these, like flamingos, cranes and other birds, what they do, they have long and very slim their legs, and with what they have spreading toes for the purpose, because these are the animals that just move through the mud, means half water half soil, muddy areas, and where what they do, they just search their food from there with the help of the beaks and they pick it up and have it. Okay, so this is about it. Now next is nesting habits. Now birds have nesting habits as well. So here in this question I have just left it. Let me just do it quickly. Circle the odd one. Here you have to pick out the odd one. One I am doing for you, rest you have to do on your own. Which one I have to do? Tell me quickly. First one. So pigeon, peacock, crow and crane. Pigeon, peacock, crow and crane. Crane. Pigeon, crow and peacock. These three birds are perching birds, while crane is a wading bird. Okay, so this is the odd one. Fine. Next, eagle, kiwi, vulture and kite. Eagle, kiwi, vulture and kite. Okay, eagle, vulture and kite, these are flesh eating, means carnivorous birds, while kiwi is a separate bird. It generally feeds upon fruits and everything, rest things, not the flesh. And next you have to do on your own. Okay, third one. Now nesting habits. Nesting, what is nesting? Nesting habits means where they are living, how they are laying eggs, and how they are just now hatching their eggs. So this is called as nesting habits. So many birds live permanently at one place. The place where a bird lives with its young one is called a nest. Okay, now fine. So many birds, they prefer to make one nest at a place, and they just prefer to live for the entire life at that one place, that one nest. So where the bird lives with the young ones. It lays egg there, it hatches the eggs there, and it lives for the entire life there with the young ones. Okay. Now different birds make different types of nest. There are different types of nests that are made by different birds. Okay. So what is the purpose? Why they build nests? To keep themselves and their eggs and their young ones safe. Now birds use feather, grass, twigs, rags, cotton, wool, thread, leaves, so many items to make their nest. Now they put hard labor in making the nest really warm and comfortable for their young ones. So what they actually want, that whenever they lay eggs and later on whenever these eggs are hatched, the young ones that are coming out must be very much comfortable there, and for that purpose they actually put in lot of effort so that they can make their nest comfortable for the young ones. Fine. So now the choices of place, material and way of building nest differ in different birds. First one is tailor bird. So what is the meaning of this word? Tailor. Tailor is someone who stitches clothes for you. So same goes with this bird. The tailor bird stitches large leaves together using thin twigs. Okay. So this is a tailor bird. It is using large or like big leaves, and it stitches the leaves together using its beak and make a wonderful nest. Fine. So it is called a tailor bird for this purpose, for its talent in stitching. It uses its sharp curved beak as a needle for stitching. Same thing. Okay. It uses its beak for stitching. Next is weaver birds. Weaver bird. The weaver bird weaves its cradle-like nest. Now this is a weaver bird. It weaves the cradle-like nest out of fine strips of grasses and leaves. So what is the material that is used? Grasses and leaves. It has an opening at the bottom. So the opening is from, entrance is from here. Okay, entrance. You may have seen these nests hanging down the trees. The nest hangs like a upside down pot with a long neck. So how it appears to you that a pot has been hanged there upside down. The mouth is from below, and rest, this is how it appears. Though it is shown there in the picture, this is the mouth and this is how it is attached to the branch of the tree. So this is how, okay, cradle shape. Now woodpeckers, a woodpecker, what it do? Woodpecker. So this makes its nest in the tree trunk only. It pecks the tree trunk with its beak, and what is the next thing? It checks for the worms and cut a hole. The hole is lined with chips of wood and grass, means it collects the different twigs and grasses and wood chips to make the nest comfortable. Fine. Now bulbuls. The bulbul builds its nest in hedges and bushes. So bulbul makes the nest in the hedges or small bushes there. The nest is like a deep cup, means just like a small bowl. This keeps the egg and baby bird safe from falling down, because it is very, what you can say, it is very deep. So it is safe for the eggs and young ones that they do not fall off to the ground. Now partridges and fowls. Partridges and fowls scrape the ground, means they just scratch the ground with their beak to make a hollow. Okay, so they make a hollow place there, empty place there. They use dried grasses and leaves to make the nest cozy. So once they dig the hole, later they what they do, they just bring all the material they require, means grasses and twigs and straws and everything, and they make the nest lined with all these things to make it cozy. Okay. Now they choose a paddy field. Paddy field. What is a paddy field? Rice field. Okay. Or grassy meadows, means all the place where all very small and tiny grasses are there. Grassy meadows, so that their nests are hidden by plants. Okay. So because the nearby area is covered by the plants, so the nest of the partridges are not very much clear or visible, so that they are safe there. Fine. Now penguins. So before starting this, penguin is the only bird that can walk upright with only 2 legs. Okay, rest 2 are wings. So now the penguins just collect some pebbles and stones to make a nest in the ground. So very easy, and because there, the place where these penguins live do not have much of the vegetation, much of the plants, grasses. So they use what? Pebbles and stones that are present there to make their nest. Next is parental care. So what is this parental care? When the nest is ready, it is ready, the mother bird lays her eggs in it. So mother birds, what they do? They lay the egg. Mother bird and father sit on the eggs to keep them warm, because hatching process requires warmth. Okay, so by sitting on the eggs very comfortably and very lightly, they give warmth to the eggs so that they can hatch later on. The eggs hatch or crack and young ones come out. So this is last thing. Fine. The newborn ones are featherless, means they do not have feathers to fly. So they just sit there. Their eyes are closed. They now, because they are just newly born chicks or birds, so they do not have their eyes like open eyes. They do not see right now. They do not have feathers, so they cannot fly or see. They cannot fly or see. So they cannot feed themselves. They do not. They cannot go out, fly and search for the food. So they do not feed themselves. The parent birds feed and protect them. One bird, means mother bird or father bird, they just go in search of the food, bring food, and the mother bird or father bird feed the young ones. The mother bird makes the food soft in her own mouth by breaking or crushing it. So because they do not have this experience or this habit of eating, so what this mother bird do? It just, first thing, it crushes and softens the food in its mouth, and then it give it to the young ones. Then it pushes this food into the mouth of the baby birds. Okay, then this mother bird gives the crushed food into the mouth of the young ones. As the baby birds grow feathers, the parent birds teach them how to fly and find food themselves. This is like a training session, because whenever these small birds, they start growing their feathers, they start opening their eyes, later on the parents give them training how to fly and how to search the food. After the breeding season, when the young ones leave the nest, the birds also leave their nest. They build new nests in the next season. So as this one season is over, so later on the young ones, they fly away, and later on the mother and father also leave their nest from one place, and later on they find a new place, a new comfortable place, and build their new home or new nest there. Okay, fine. So this is all about this. So now next you have to think and tell the answer. So first one is, I built a shallow nest. I built it in a paddy field. So this you have to remember, because you have covered many things in this chapter. Some beaks, different types of beaks, different types of feet, different type of nest. So let's go back. So which bird uses a paddy field to make its nest? Come on, partridges and fowl. So you can write anyone. I am writing fowl over here. Okay, fowls. Next is, my beak looks like a horn. I live in a hole in a tree trunk. Come on, like a horn. So here I am writing hornbill. Though in first or second slide it was written that peacocks also have their horn shaped beak, but they do not live in the hole of the tree trunk. That is very clear, because these are the perching birds. So here hornbill is the correct answer. Next is, I lay my eggs in the crow's nest. I am a lazy bird. So this is out of the chapter, because it is not written over here. So you have to find out, or I can tell you answer. This is the quail. Quail. Okay. This bird lays egg in the crow's nest, and it basically do not make its own nest. I stitch a leafy nest. So very clear, tailor bird. Tailor bird stitches two leaves, big large leaves, to make a nest. Next is, I make a cradle like nest. So remember cradle, a pot hanged upside down. So that is a weaver bird. That is a weaver bird. Now just go through these points, and let's just cover and finish the questions. So these two questions I can make you do, but these are because many birds are having many different names, means goose, ostrich, and then cassowary and flamingo. These all birds we have not covered, so do not do this question. Okay, I am leaving this question for you right now, but this competency based question we are going to cover. Okay, so this is study the given Venn diagram and select the correct option regarding it. So first one, they are saying that one group is having broad and flat beak. Broad and flat beak. So this is called as one group. Another group is birds that is having webbed feet. Okay, and they are overlapping. Third circle says that these are flightless birds. So this X says type of bird that is flightless and having webbed feet. So here they are saying that X could be a penguin. This X could be a penguin. X means penguin cannot fly. These are flightless. And they are having webbed feet as well, because in snows and the iced rivers, they use these webbed feet to swim. So this is correct. Okay, X could be penguin. Next they are saying that Z could be a stork. Stork is a wading. It is a wading bird. Stork is a wading bird. Okay. And what is a wading bird? Wading bird are those birds that live in the or that roam around in the muddy areas to find their food. Means having long legs and broad toes. Okay. So they are saying Z could be a stork. So it should be a flightless bird, broad and flat beak, but they do not have broad and flat beak because they have pointed beak so that they can find their food easily. Okay. So this is wrong. Next is Y could be a duck. Why? Yes, they have broad and flat beak and they have webbed feet. So this Y could be a duck and X could be a penguin is correct. So both A and C are correct. Fine. So this is how you have to find the answer. Now next, choose the correct option. Leave this question number 2. Okay. This is something like many new names are given over here. So just leave this question. Now next is choose the correct answers. The feathers which keep the bird warm are called flight feathers, down feathers, or body feathers. We have not read anything like body feathers. So down feathers are those feathers that are help in the keeping the body very warm and like very cozy. So this is the correct answer. Flight feathers are those feathers that help the bird to fly. Now upward and backward movement of the wings. Remember, upward movement and downward flapping of the wings, downstroke and upstroke. So here upstroke because they are asking for the upward movement. The bird which fly at great height is vulture, not sparrow. Sparrow is a very small bird and kiwi again is a very small bird, and vulture is actually a big bird that can only aim and see their prey while moving around in the sky at a very great height. The bird which has strong, sharp and curved beak is a woodpecker, vulture or pigeon. It is vulture. Okay. Woodpecker has a straight beak. Pigeon again is having very short and very pointed beak, while vulture has a sharp and curved beak. A baby bird dash when it hatches out of the egg. It can fly, it cannot fly, none of these it cannot fly because it do not have feathers. Next is dash feather are long and flat feathers on the wings. Long and flat, these are flight feathers. Flight feathers. Okay, you can go back to the chapter. In the first or second slide, it is given that feathers that are long and flat are called as flight feathers. They help in flying of the bird. The upward and backward movement is called as upstroke. It is called as upstroke. Dash beak help ducks to dig in the soft mud, flat and broad. Flat, so this is a small place, I am writing flat, okay. Flat beaks help ducks to dig in the soft mud near ponds. Flat and broad. The place where a bird lives with its young one is called a nest. It's called a nest. Dash bird uses its sharp curved beak as a needle for stitching. So it is tailor bird. It is It is tailor bird. Fine. Now put the tick for correct answer, sorry, statement, and cross for a false one. Now tail feathers cover the body to keep it warm. Wrong. Which one? Which one? The down feathers. Okay. The ostrich is the largest and heaviest living bird. Yes, it is largest and heaviest living bird that cannot fly. It is a flightless bird. Perching helps the bird to rest and sleep without falling. Correct. Perching means strong claws that help the bird to hold onto the branches. Now, weaver bird uses its sharp curved beak as a needle for stitching. No. Tailor bird. Weaver bird make a cradle shaped nest. A newborn ones are featherless. True. Okay. Now again, this next question, they are asking for two birds which can do these. So I am writing for one answer. Another one you have to write on your own. So one bird that can fly. Any one bird you can write. I am writing here pigeon. Pigeon can fly. Okay. Another one you have to write. Next, they are asking can wade. So can walk through the mud to find its food. So answer is, I am writing crane. Crane. Okay. Next is can perch. Can perch means hold to the branches so that they can sit there. So I am writing crow. Another one you have to find out and complete it. Next, can swim. So one I am writing is duck. Duck. Next are flesh eating. So I am writing hawk. Next you have to complete it. Okay. So this was a very big chapter. Though it has covered many aspects of birds, means their beak, their nesting habits, their feet, their wings, everything. Okay. So just revise the chapter once, go through it, do the exercises once again, and we will meet in another session of science. Till then, happy learning, kids.